This is something, again, that our ancestors have known forever. The principle of writing letters for abundance and creating a prosperity lifestyle is not new. This has been known for years, way before our time. And they knew that with faith and belief, anything was possible. Greetings, beautiful ones. Welcome back to the channel. How you doing? Good. Alright, so I want to talk to you guys about something. You might want to run and grab a pencil and paper because this is really good, right? So the other day, I was having a conversation with a client of mine and I was talking about how I created massive abundance in my life. Like how I went from basically like drip abundance to creating massive abundance and prosperity in my life and business. And I was having this conversation, and after I had the conversation, I came back home and I looked through one of my journals, right? This journal's old. And I looked at the things that I was writing in the space that I was in, because sometimes when we're in different spaces, we have the ability to create quickly, right? We know that words have power and that they shape our reality. Everything that we think, say, believe, and expect shows up in our life. Now, I know somebody will say, well, no, that's not true, but it is really true. Whatever we think about, whatever we are feeling about that, and our intentions around the words that we're speaking shows up in our life. But did you know that many years ago, centuries ago, that people used letter writing to create abundance in their lives? So I know that I've talked about writing letters to your angels on the channel, and we talk a lot about scripting, but we never talk about how back in the ancient days that ancient civilization actually used letter writing rituals to create massive abundance in their lives. Sometimes you look at that and you think about back in those days, how did they really survive? Like, where did they get their abundance from? You know, you think about people who really came up a lot differently than what we're coming up now, how we are coming up now, that really didn't have what we would think a lot of resources, but they made it. And some of them were very wealthy. That is how they did it. So what we call scripting and writing letters to our higher power, writing letters to our angels and things like that, they called ancient abundant letter writing rituals. So not only do our words influence what's going on in our minds, it influences the energy around us. It influences the energy that we attract, the things that we attract, the experiences that we attract. And I guarantee you that if you ever take some time and you sit down and you think about the things that you say in a day, right? Like one day I actually wrote down my thoughts and I was just like, oh my goodness, Fran, that's why. This is why your life looks like this. But this is not how you want your life to look. So I began to master the art of manifestation through letter writing. And I began to attract massive prosperity through letter writing rituals. That is why I created the scripting package, and we now have the 7-figure scripting bundle, which is the exact scripting that I use to create not one, but 3 massive business shifts of abundance over 7 figures. No joke. And I remember thinking that I was doing it right. I remember that, but as I began to study and begin to get quiet and really ask for guidance about it, I realized I was doing it all wrong. And one of the things that I did not realize is that my words have so much power, and the intention behind my words amplifies the power. Right? So how I'm feeling when I say a thing, how the energy that I'm expelling when I say something is either going to help me create quickly, or it's not going to help me create at all. Or it's going to help me create something that I totally don't want. The intentions behind your wording is so important, because if you're just saying things, right? You're just talking mindlessly. You're creating mindless things and things you probably don't even want to show up in your life. And then you wonder, how did I get here? How did I get here? So let's talk about some things, right? Let's talk about the power of intentions. So your intentions is the energy that brings focus to what you're saying and what you're doing and your actions. When you're writing a letter to manifest abundance, your intentions is the energy that begins to attract things. Your intentions is what gives your words power. Without intentions, it's just ink on paper. Like it means nothing. If you just sit down and you just start writing without the intention that the words are going to create your reality, you're just writing. That's it. It's just words on paper. Which is why some of you may not have seen abundance manifest in your life, because you're not setting the intention behind it, which is the energy that vibrates into the universe that says, I'm open, I'm allowing, I'm available, I am ready, come to me. That's why it's very important to get clear before you do any scripting, before you do any writing. It's really important to have clarity around what it is that you desire. What do you desire to see show up in your life? What is it that you truly want to happen? Why are you actually taking the time to do this? You're taking the time to do it because you are desiring to manifest something. What is that desire? And I always say this, not your little bitty tiny, I think I can have it desire. You want to write your great big manifestation manifesto. You want to write your life's script. When you are manifesting with intentions, when you are manifesting with feelings, you know the book Feelings Are the Secret. If you don't, I'll leave the link to that book below. It's about that big by Neville Goddard. And let me tell you something. That book changed my life. It's one of the books that changed my life. And if you guys want to, we can talk about that here. But I truly suggest that you go get that book. How you're feeling when you do anything amplifies into the universe. And the ancient civilization knew that. They knew that it was about feeling good, feeling grateful, feeling happy. You don't want to sit down to manifest anything when you are feeling desperate, when you are feeling in a bad mood, when you're irritated, because all of that is going to overpower the manifestation and you're going to attract more of the thing that you don't want. So your feelings are the secret. And you should always be feeling good. And if you don't, find a reason to. There's something in your life that you could be doing. There's something in your life that you could be not doing. So find a reason to be happy about it. Okay? All right. So now I'm going to give you a few examples of some of the ways that the people in ancient civilization use letter writing to attract and manifest abundance. So in Egypt, people wrote letters to God asking for wealth, protection, and guidance. And in those letters, after they wrote them, they placed them in the temples or the tombs, symbolizing a sacred connection between the writer and the divine. So part of their ritual was making sure that they put this in a place where they felt like it could be honored, right? So for me, my journal is that place. I always keep my journal with me. My journal is always in my purse. I have my journal on my person. I sleep with my journal by my bed. My journal is always with me. And actually, I have more than one journal. I have a journal for business and I have a journal for personal, right? So I keep my journals with me in my purse, in my backpack, in my travel bag. I never leave the house without my journal Because to me holding it in my hand and actually having that conversation with the divine is my way of having a sacred connection, right? Being able to lay it out and say, here you go. This is my desires today. This is my desires for this. This is my way of creating a sacred connection, right? All right, so that's one way. In ancient China, there was a practice of writing wishes on pieces of paper and burning them during festivals. And they believed that the smoke carried their desires to the heavens where they would be heard and answered. So that is why sometimes when you are working with maybe the full moon or the new moon, you feel like you should burn it. I just want to burn it. So when I do intentional scripting in the moon cycles, I burn it, right? I burn on a full moon, but I keep a new moon. And why do I burn on a full moon? Because a full moon is a time for release. So symbolically, I am giving it over and I am burning it and saying, here you go. So that's the ancient Chinese technique. And they have done that for years. And do you know, they still do that to this day. Closer to home for me, in many African cultures, they practice writing or drawing symbols of prosperity on parchment paper, sometimes placing them under the pillow and burying them in the earth close to nature to amplify the intentions. Now, I don't know if you guys heard the story about the lady who won $110 million in the lottery. And she said that one of the things that she did was she wrote her number down and she put it in her pillow every night. That was her number. She knew that was her number and she knew she was going to win. And even when the lottery was not that high, she would not play because she knew that that was her number. And she won $110 million. So you have to do what resonates with you, right? You have to do the thing that feels good to you. When I script, sometimes I do bury it. It depends on what I'm scripting about, right? Because in certain ways that you script, there are certain places that you should bury it. You didn't know that, did you? Yeah. So therefore, you have to choose the ritual or the thing that feels best to you. But just know that you're not alone. These practices are not new. There are so many prosperous people that still use the intentional writing rituals that our ancient ancestors used. Like, it's really amazing. We think that this law of attraction, law of manifesting, the law of assumption is all new, but it's not. This has been happening for years, and some of the wealthiest people use ancient letter writings for abundance today. They still use it. Some people call it journaling. Some people call it scripting. Some people call, I'm just writing this letter for abundance because I know I deserve it. Whatever resonates to you. That's how you move. You flow with what feels good to you. And as long as it feels good to you, it's going to work for you. I promise you that. I just want to say this, that each one of those practices, whether it is the Egyptians' practice, the Chinese practice, or the African practice, what they all had in common was the intentionality that this was going to complete because this is what I believe in. They gave gratitude, they trusted in the process, and those are the ingredients that make rituals so effective. Like, you have to give thanks for what you're asking for. You give thanks in advance. And when you give thanks in advance, what you're doing is you are telling the universe, I am open for receiving this. And I know that you're going to do this for me. So thank you in advance. I'm expecting it to happen. And that's what they all did. When they did whatever their sacred practice was to connect it, they let it alone. They didn't go back and dig it up. They didn't go back and say, why should I burn? Oh gosh, I shouldn't have burned that. I need to see it, right? They did not go look in the tomb to see if it was gone. They just let it go because they trusted and they have faith in what they're doing. And that is the most important thing that you could ever have, is you have to believe it. Because if you don't believe it, you shouldn't be doing it. Let me just tell you that. So now that we know about ancient rituals, let's talk about a few ways that you can do it yourself. So this is where your pencil and paper comes in handy, right? So you can find a sacred space where you can focus without having any distractions at all. Set the mood. You know, when I'm scripting, I light a candle, I burn some incense, I turn on some music. Sometimes it's Sade, sometimes it's Barbara Streisand. It just depends on what mood I'm in, right? And I just kind of get quiet and I center myself. And I really think about what it is that I desire to attract at this moment, right? I always start by expressing gratitude. I don't do anything without giving thanks first. I give thanks for what is. I give thanks for what will be, because gratitude raises your energetic vibration and it sets the stage for receiving in so many ways. I just cannot even explain it to you. Then I get specific about my desire. When I told you that I use this to create massive abundance in my life, there was a time that I desired to attract $275,000. I needed it for an investment, and I just knew that the universe was going to bring it to me. I didn't look for a client. I didn't look for an investor. I just knew that this money was going to show up. So what I did was I sat down, right? And I started to think about how I would feel when this money showed up and what I would do, who would be the first person I called, things like that. And that's the things that we talk about in the 7-figure scripting bundle. I mean, all of that's in there. It's amazing. But anyway, I can still remember that day like it was yesterday. And I remember how effortlessly and easily the money started to come to me in really big increments. It was really amazing. But you know what? I knew that it was going to happen. I expected it to happen, which is why I sat down and scripted it out, because I just knew it. So you have to be grateful. Like I was grateful for that money coming because I just knew that it was coming. I had no doubt, right? And when you're scripting and you're asking for something, you want to be specific, but you want to leave enough room for the universe to work its magic, right? So don't just script something like, I want to be wealthy, because what does that mean? What does it mean to be wealthy? You might want to say something like, I am grateful for the $10,000 that I received that allowed me to start my business. I love my business. I love what I do. I'm so glad, on and on and on and on, right? And you want to always close your letters with, I release this intention to the universe, knowing that it's going to manifest at the perfect time in the perfect way. Again, if you need help, we have scripting packages available that people have used and have had amazing, dynamic results. I know that I have. So I'm telling you, this works. Remember to write what you feel in your heart. So even if you did our scripting packages, you want to make those words your own. You want to write what resonates with you. Like, what is your truest desires? Because what you're doing is you're mailing this letter to the universe. So think of it like that. You're mailing it to the universe. You're handing it over. And they're going to get to work. So what is it that you truly, truly desire? So let me just remind you this before I go. That letter writing rituals remind us that abundance begins with clarity, intentions, and belief. When you take the time to focus your energy and pour your heart into the words that you are ultimately giving to your higher power, you create a powerful ripple effect that brings your dreams into reality. It brings your desires into reality. It actually opens the door and shifts the mindset into a place where you believe that everything is possible. And this is something, again, that our ancestors have known forever. The principle of writing letters for abundance and creating a prosperity lifestyle is not new. This has been known for years, way before our time. And they knew that with faith and belief, anything was possible. And I hope you know that too. All right, y'all. I cannot wait to hear what you create by doing this. And remember, every word you speak has power. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.